This is Christopher and Catherine, your favorite 401 couple. Today we have an extra special and extra fine, an extra fino guest, Jason Wroblewski. Jason is Regional Vice President at Ascensus and also the head provocateur at 60 Second Soapbox. He's built a reputation as a tech-curious 401k sales pro and industry translator. He's not just deep in the retirement plan trenches, he's actually creating content to help translate what's happening in Washington, D.C., regulation, fintech, and plan design, and is the winner of a recent award. What's the award again?
The second annual Napa Social Media Influencer Award.
So is that
highly coveted award?
Is that why you've only gotten 2 of them?
That's exactly right.
That's right. That's why you've only gotten 2 of them. Okay.
Do you get a special crystal figurine or something?
Oh, that comes out at the gala dinner.
Are you serious?
Oh, there's a gala. Okay.
No. So today's episode is going to be broken down into 2 parts. It's probably actually going to be 3 parts because there will be a Sherry segment that will be broken out separately. Now then, every episode, our shtick with this is different. The guest gets to pick the treat. One of the reasons Jason's here is because of the treat. The treat.
I would say actually the spread. The spread.
Well, and then it turned
he used to have treats, and now it's a spread.
It turned into a lot more. We've got olives, we've got almonds, we've got very, very nice Spanish sherry, and although this kind of takes us into the lightning round as well, Jason, real quickly, why is this so wonderful?
Because it is misunderstood and underappreciated. That's why I'm interested in it. But why is it wonderful? Because it is an exceptionally food-friendly wine. Fino sherry. It goes with a lot of salty snacks, as you know, which is why the spread is out in front of us. A lot of people have a misconception of what sherry is. They think of it as a lot darker than that, something that grandma probably drank. But it's actually a very dry wine that's food friendly.
This is not your grandmother's Harvey Bristol cream. That is for sure. Now then, lightning round, although we've almost covered one of them. Other than sherry, I'm presuming sherry is not a 24-hour drink.
That's a fair statement.
Okay, just checking. Okay.
Depends on the day.
What is your go-to drink for early morning client meetings?
Early morning client meetings, I don't have them, frankly, anymore. Not that early, right? So I'm usually done drinking my coffee by 7 or 7:30.
Okay.
And I drink my coffee, and I'm probably not going to have anything else to drink until I eat something. So,
right.
I am generally liquidless for my morning meetings.
So you're just saying you're fully hydrated
I'm
when
fully
you show up to your first meeting.
Correct, fully hydrated.
That's
the coffee I've had. Wow. When I got my first sales job 40 years ago, they're like, oh, no, you have to, somebody offers you coffee, you just take black coffee, even if you drink it or not, you're just going to drink it. And I, as a result, have had some really bad coffee in my life. But anyways, what is one 401k misconception that drives you absolutely crazy?
That's one of those where do I starts.
Remember, this is the lightning round, not the Odyssey. Okay?
Yeah. Can we come back to that one?
Yeah, sure. You want to phone a friend?
The
misconception is there's just one,
and that's fair.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'll give it. And this is from a recent post of mine, actually. A misconception that's widespread is that asset size drives complexity in 401k plans.
Thank you. See, for me, if I may answer your lightning round question, because we finally figured it out, it's that people, because I spend too much time trying to figure out what people are saying on Reddit, okay, is that people think Roth 401ks are completely separate plans from other regular, traditional 401k plans. So
we finally realized while doing a podcast, the reason they think that is it's true of IRAs.
Right.
That makes sense.
So in IRAs, you have to decide which kind of plan you want. In a 401k plan, it's just a feature within the plan that you choose.
That makes sense.
So I'm back next week. Is he just a regular weekly?
I can tell you where to purchase.
No, I know that. But it's okay. All right. Now that, please understand, this is a curious question. This is fantastic. But why did you bring this particular sherry? Because there's probably what 600 different kinds.
Probably. I mean, there's about a dozen main kinds of sherry, but this particular one is kind of, I think of it as like the gateway sherry. Right. So it's the one where people are like, sherry, I'm not going to try sherry. That's my grandmother's drink. Right. They try this and they're like, oh, that's not what I was expecting at all. I could imagine having sushi with this.
Oh yeah.
I would like olives with this.
Yeah.
I would like manchego cheese.
I would like fried calamari with this.
Oh.
Christopher's like it's too
almost
close
all of anything that you would want to pills with.
Yes. Right. Anything that you would reach for, like a pills or
a dry white
or like a Sauvignon Blanc.
Right. Okay. Well, we're all learning something today. Okay. Now then, what is a hobby or interest you have that people in the industry would be surprised to learn about?
I suppose, and this shouldn't be a surprise based on this conversation,
right,
but that I am very interested in all manner of food, whether it's shopping for it or cooking it or trying it, you name it.
Okay, so when's the last time you were at White Castle?
It's been a while since I was at White Castle.
Good answer. Based on what you just said,
you talked about Italy, and that's already saying something.
No, I know. I'm just checking. Okay, just a second.
Can I say one thing about Italy that's funny? Is we actually went to one in Italy, and we thought we were like being maybe jerkish American people doing that, and it was super amazing.
Oh yeah,
and there were lots of locals there, and the pastries were off the hook.
Now then, segment 1. Why does Jason's, the 401k guy's social media work? Okay, and kind of like, and the hidden question for that is, why are you allowed to do it? All right, so what? We got to get to that.
Does the census know you're doing this?
Yes, they do.
Are you in the witness protection program, and we're ruining it for you? What made you start posting consistently, and when?
It was about 3 years ago. It's been 3 years when I posted my first video. Well, I was posting sort of more traditional content, forwarding articles and commenting on them for a while, and you get some reach out of it, and not really creating anything, maybe commenting on something, and you'd get some engagement. But I remember seeing somebody's video. I don't remember who it was. This is a while back, saying, you know what, if you're waiting to do content like for the right moment, just take a deep breath and do it. And I started thinking about that, and I said, okay, today's the day. I'm going to make a video, and it's going to be 60 seconds because I know that's about how long people are going to want to tolerate me talking for. I think I'm coming up on 43 right now. I branded it the 60-second soapbox, and I did my first video, and that I called record keeping is not a commodity.
Oh my God, I remember that one. That's your first one?
That was my first one. Yeah. And it got such great reactions and such great engagement that I started thinking, well, maybe I can make this into a thing. So I started posting a little more often, and you know this story, right? You start thinking, what's my next big hit gonna be? And then you realize content is kind of everywhere, right? And you don't have to make every single thing a production. Somebody can say something to you in a meeting, and you'll say, that's actually a good video idea. I can turn that into a 60-second screed. Right. Right. And so as soon as you start looking, you realize it's everywhere, and it's relatively easy to start posting.
So what kind of content has resonated the most? It seems like funny skits. Is that right? I mean, you got a bit of humor in there.
It's changed a bit.
Okay. Right? So, all right. So
it's changed over the past couple of years. And I think part of it is the deterioration of people's attention spans is a real thing. Right. Right? So I started seeing, because LinkedIn will let you track all of your stats, right? And you'll see out of your 60-second video, here's how many people watched it, here's how long they watched it for. And I saw that number declining over time.
Okay.
So it meant one of two things. People are just sick and tired of me, and my shtick is tired and old. Or people might be looking for something else. The novelty's worn off. So especially over the past year or so, as some of the AI tools have become easier to use, I've defaulted now to goofy AI generated background and some message, right? That's actually more serious.
Okay, because there has been, because I was wondering how you're if I say production values, I don't mean that in a I mean there's a lot more stuff going on in your shorts, and that's all AI that you're using for the background.
So all the background is AI generated.
So you're doing this all yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And we
you
have
a
people.
team. Okay. And are you able to? Do you have a specific product that you're using, a specific AI, or do you?
So I'll use ChatGPT or
Okay.
Canva.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And usually it takes a couple of iterations
Right.
for me to say, I want a mountain and a sign on the side of the road and a winding road going into the mountain. And, oh yeah. And make it animated. Right.
Oh,
And here's what I want the sign to say. Right.
Yeah.
So and it doesn't get it right the first time, but after a few iterations, it gets there.
Okay. All right.
But I would like to say I agree with the fact that what people see initially visually is what they go for. And
Right.
so it's very funny to see that when people put 8 different pictures and then there's the +2 that says there's more behind it, it just, nothing's striking about it.
Exactly.
It's better to have one single picture that looks amazing, that tells a story in the picture.
Exactly.
And that's more of a hook. So so as much as right now we're doing long form, our person breaks it into little shorts and tries, so we're trying to do both long form versus short form. But what's really funny is our very first podcast, we have over 2,000 views, and it's still hard to give up that idea that you can have a podcast where people will watch it all to the end.
Right.
Even though all the subsequent ones don't have as good numbers.
Right.
But there's that evergreen part that the numbers keep going up over time, though. Everything it started at 20 and now it's up to 24, and then so you see the whole thing.
No, and that's exactly that insight, Catherine, that the picture itself is the hook.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And and it's like, the 12 pictures on a LinkedIn post.
Right.
It's like getting an email with 7 attachments. You don't open any of them.
Oh my
That's
goodness!
a very good
Holy
You
cow!
don't open a single one. But if you get an email with one attachment, you're going to open it, right?
Oh my goodness, that's wow. Okay, see, we do this not for the snacks, but to learn from the guests. If you guys learn, that's on you.
So
we learn. Okay.
But I want to say there is one exception to that, and you can see Katie from Principal does it where she uses Canva.
She just floods the zone.
No, but she does something. It's like it is one picture with different parts in it, and it tells a story.
Right.
And since it tells a story as a single, as a collection, that can break the rules but still work. And so I think that's the important thing about using Canva and having can you place it and make it look like a story? Because I actually have a post where it is a story about a national cemetery for Veterans Day, and it's because it has kind of a story going on in it.
Right, and that makes sense, and it's still one image, and I've seen those too. I think those are really good.
Right.
But make it easy on the reader, or make it easy on the consumer of the content. Don't make them work hard, right? To view your content.
Yep.
Good point.
Yep.
So, what have you learned? I think we got a pretty good idea what's going to come here. So, what have you learned about showing personality versus industry expertise?
It's funny. I think we, especially on my side, on the wholesaler side, we get a little bit bound up in let me demonstrate how smart I am about this, right? But on some level,
approach.
How smart we are?
No, not how smart we are.
But on some level, if you've been doing this a little while, there's an assumed competence, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to go out of your way to demonstrate that. And what I think you end up doing is you really demonstrate competence by asking sharp questions and bringing up a really sharp point.
Okay.
right? So so like the one that I just said about one of my pet peeves, or I
Right.
don't remember what the lightning round question actually was, but like that's something that's widespread, that everyone seems to believe, right, that the greater the assets, the more complex the plan
Yep,
is,
yep.
and nobody really mentions it, right? So by being the one to come in and say, hey, like, can we address this thing that everyone seems to just assume and not ever talk about, right? It's a sharp question that ends up demonstrating your competence without having to say, look at my MBA, if that makes sense.
Right.
Please put your MBA away. All right.
I don't have an MBA, by the way, but
You
Yeah.
have an English degree,
I
right?
do have an English degree.
Which I think is amazing. Do you feel well? Because I mean, I have a philosophy degree.
Oh, cool.
Internet.
That's how I started. It was philosophy.
Okay, and then you decided to be more practical.
I didn't like
Learn how
my
to write.
classmates
Oh,
when I was studying philosophy.
You philosophically couldn't agree with them.
They were all jackasses.
well,
All right.
Moving on.
Okay. So examples of posts. So what hasn't worked? What did you think was going to be? Oh my God, this is the next best thing since New Coke, and was a disaster. And was New Coke?
Yeah. And interesting as a corollary to the last question, the geekier, the more competence demonstrating or demonstrative it was from a competence perspective, the less traction the posts tend to get. Right. So I learned that a while ago. Right. This has got to be, even though my audience is primarily 401k advisors and consultants, that's my audience, right? That's who I'm talking to. If it's too heavy, and I'm not making it easy on the consumer of the content, they move on, right? And the other piece that I've learned that doesn't work, and this goes back to why I started doing this to begin with, is anything that looks like a commercial, people scroll right past it. They don't even see it. Right. So it's not like they see it and they're like, that's stupid. They don't even see it. Right. So the way to the posts that have done well are the ones that don't look like corporate zombie content. Right. That look a little bit different.
Well, this is Halloween on purpose. All right.
No, but I laugh. But I laugh. Most corporate stuff is zombie because they don't want to offend.
Correct.
So it's very important in not offending. Then they're so boring, nobody's looking at.
Right, and which is comes back to like what you guys have been doing, right? Is like, this is who we are, and this is different, and the people who are interested in that are going to gravitate toward it, right? As opposed to kind of saying, let me try to be pretty close to the others so that everyone knows that we do this work, but not too different, right?
Yeah, I agree that. I mean, I know a little bit of it is my bias, but as I go through LinkedIn, I'm just looking for where's the original. Where is it? Where is it? Even if it's awkward, even if it looks, that's what I'm going to comment on. That's what I'm going to pull forward, and don't know over time, what's that doing, but it is trying to pull that content through more than just here's a whole bunch of everybody sharing the same.
Right. It's the old, like, I'm proud to work for a company who, right? And if your post starts like that, the only people who will read it are going to be the other people who work at that company.
Right.
Right.
Swipe left or swipe, whatever the swipe left or swipe right,
Right.
One is. Yeah. All right. So then how has, I'm presuming, you've got a little inertia going on here. So some of it you're just going to keep doing just because you're having fun and everything else.
Yes.
But how has this translated into business conversations, or has it?
It has. So I've had a number of inbound calls and messages based on some of my posts immediately after, or what I'll find is it's indirect more often than anything. So I've had a couple of those, right, where people are like, hey, I saw what you posted on LinkedIn. Can we chat a little bit about that? I thought that was an interesting idea. That doesn't happen every post, right? I'd say that happens every third post.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Which I guess is still a lot.
Right.
But more often I'll talk to somebody in a meeting, and I'll find out during that meeting that part of what made it easier to have that meeting in the first place was that they were familiar with where I was coming from. Right. So it's like they saw my billboard on the highway. The billboard doesn't know who saw it. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so that's been helpful in that way. And I've even had advisors say, it's like you said in that post. We're like, oh, you saw my post because they didn't like it, they didn't comment
Well,
on
that
it.
is
We get a
it's
ton of
funny
that.
the
Yeah.
hidden
I
influence
get
that
these
you
phone
don't.
calls. I watched every episode. Well, like and comment once in a while, dude. Really? It's like what? Never mind. Okay, so
But I would say that whole thing that you say that even in this last year, we've walked into some meetings that I felt went totally different because they had seen our videos.
Exactly.
Like normally,
Yes,
either we
yes.
wouldn't have gotten that meeting, or the meeting would have been kind of like polite shaking hands.
Right.
Let's make this 15 minutes. Now it's more like
Right. And I think especially in the plan consultant world.
Yes.
Like, I mean, there's an assumed competence. You have that on your business card. You run a business that deals with plan design, right? They're going to assume your competence. What makes you different is, these are the ones who do that cool stuff on YouTube. They seem like actual people that I could talk to. I'll start there, I guess.
right. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we've got two more questions on this section here, even though you don't see it too written down, Catherine. All right. Do you have some quick advice to advisors who want to start posting but never actually get off the dime?
Just start. Right. Just like start and don't make it, don't overcomplicate it. That's all.
You've got, if I may I add, okay, it's like, it's the first pancake, it's the first crap, okay? Like you said on our idea decanter video, okay? You've got to do a bunch of them so you've done them, all right? And she won't let me lock my first ones away in a vault, but the first ones are just, Jesus, they're bad, okay? But we got from there to here,
right,
to having Sherry.
Right, and it's actually, once you start thinking about it, and I mentioned this before, content is everywhere. Right, so if you don't know where to start, you're probably thinking, oh my God, I've got to put this like enormous production value. I've got to get a camera. I've got to do this. I've got to come up with a script. Like there's something that you probably said to a client yesterday that is unique and something that you say and is repeatable and something you explain to clients and they always say, oh, that makes sense. Thanks for explaining it. That's your content. That's what you start with.
Correct. Content is everywhere, but real emotional engagement is not.
Yeah. So what's interesting is I know somebody in one of my networking groups actually got a fair amount of likes out of just posting himself with a cup of coffee at the train station, waiting to get on and go on, kind of the early morning hoping to do. And it's funny that it was relatable and it seemed real.
Mhm.
And so under that idea that you have to say, here's the 5 points in making the best 401k plan, it actually was better content just to take the picture of I was waiting for the train.
Yeah.
And did it in an interesting way.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So the hidden question. Do you have pictures on somebody? Are you blackmailing somebody? Why are you so freaking unique? Okay. Why are you able, because we can't get anybody else from any other similar firm on camera because the boss is going, no. And it's not because of our content, it's just a policy. So why are you able to do this and why are you able to make it work?
Well, I think part of it is because early on, when we all started on LinkedIn, and a lot of firms have policies like this, everything is sent to compliance, right?
Oh, you still run your stuff through compliance?
Everything gets run through compliance. So that's
sorry.
So that might be the difference, right?
Okay.
Although that said, our compliance does allow me to do it.
Okay.
So I'm guessing at other firms that it's not even a question.
So how quickly does compliance turn it around?
Fairly quickly. So we have a good process in place now.
Okay,
a little bit of trust.
Yeah,
you've developed some fans and compliance who
exactly.
use, you think?
Right, and I think it helped early on when I could point to some of the statistics that LinkedIn gathers for you and send it to marketing and say, here's how many viewers we had, here's how many viewers we had from this firm.
Okay.
Here's how many viewers they had that were financial advisors,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
it helped kind of build the case with data.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now then, moving on to segment number 2, we're going to be talking about unicorns and tooth fairies. I'm sorry, 15-minute fintech setup. Okay. It's funny that within the past couple of minutes, you were talking about assumed competence. This actually makes me tongue tied. The whole concept of
It's
the
very
15-minute
emotional. Yeah.
setup. Okay. What is your initial reaction to this?
It's kind of hard to wrap my mind around it from a planned fiduciary perspective, right? I mean, we we work with startups all the time, and generally speaking, a business owner that's looking to start a new plan doesn't know what to ask, right? They don't even know where to start, and they're looking for some guidance. So how they're able to kind of self-serve that is hard to wrap my mind around.
So I'm wanting to do a LinkedIn. Keep going. I've got some.
Well, I was going to say, what's funny that I thought through a little bit today is sometimes the idea is that it takes 15 minutes to set up for what the role the TPA has, but even the shortest record keeper is probably 3 weeks at least.
Yes.
There's just no way you can set up that many accounts in that short of a time. So some of it is almost a misdirection that we take the easiest part and push it over here and say 15 minutes. But still, you're already setting it up that it's a product and it's easy, and then people will do things because it's easy. And a certain segment of the market will take that up. So
Right, and maybe it's not all bad because there are going to be some who do, right, and it works. But this is a relatively new phenomenon, right? What I think is what there's some data on is over the years the payroll providers, right? Because we've all seen over the years, oh, it's super easy. Similar concept, very easy. We'll get it all done for you. Payroll integration is the only thing that matters. Everything else is a commodity. Blah blah blah. And what happens when someone doesn't have the help of experts to actually set up and run their plan?
Right. We recently drove to the East Coast, which means a lot of Ohio and Pennsylvania, New York turnpikes. Okay. And it seemed like everywhere we went, the Burger King or the Starbucks or the Popeyes or whatever the heck it was had no people taking orders. Okay.
Right.
And when you're in line behind a bus full of people where the average age is 74 or 75, and the only way they can get their Whopper is to figure out their own way through the kiosk, I kept thinking, oh my God, this is the 15-minute fintech setup. Okay. There's not a lot of difference between this. It's just, anyway. So,
Right, and I'll be frank. I haven't seen a lot of that in the financial advisor space. So you might be running into it more than I do.
no, it's more like losing prospects to it,
Yeah.
and things like that.
Right,
So,
and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, right? Because I don't know specifically which ones are doing this and which ones aren't, right? But fintechs as a group, um, there's going to be winners and losers there too, right? There's going to be consolidation among fintechs the same way there's consolidation among traditional record keepers.
yes.
Well,
Some will survive and some won't.
What happens to the money and the plans of the people that don't? But hopefully they will. Yeah, I hadn't thought about their aggregation yet. Yeah.
Right.
but I think some of it is trying to do a little head nod to when we ask all the questions that we do, we're just being difficult because they can do it in 15 minutes. That there's something in our nature that we want to make things hard when really we want to make things right. And we want to help you with your
Exactly.
risk management. We want you to have
Narissa wants to make it hard. We
Well,
want to make it easy.
well, but I do feel that there's a little bit of a red herring that's being thrown out. You make it hard. You go with someone who makes it easy for you, even if that
Well, I mean,
means
tell me a little bit about some of the market because I haven't seen a lot of the marketing, right?
Really?
I haven't.
You don't spend much time on LinkedIn then, huh? So no, I'm just no.
So
So
the
we saw.
algorithm gets him different than us.
Yeah, of course it does. No, we've seen it's basically, I can't remember who we saw. The thing is, I can't remember who it is. It's just 15-minute setup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jason's coming this afternoon. We're going to talk about it.
Right.
It's just,
I mean, we name names. I mean, isn't it? It's things like 401k in a box, right?
that's who it was. Yeah. Thank you. It was 401k in a box.
And I think I'm trying to think who else. Don't know if Vestwell's saying it or not.
No, best wasn't, but it
But-
sure seems like something from Guideline and Human Interest are doing and then when you lose prospects, I mean, it's not just the supposed time setup, but the amount being billed to the employer is less than us, and they're, shall we say, a little obtuse about what it's actually being charged to the participants. Okay,
Right.
higher percentages. So who's really less expensive, and who's going to help you figure out whether or not you need automatic enrollment and whether or not you're getting the
Right,
tax
and
credit.
especially in those cases where, and I know some of those firms distribute differently, not through advisors.
Right.
They're going through accountants, or they're going direct, or whatever their referral sources are. Those plan sponsors don't have an advocate to be able to point out things like what you just said, Chris. Like, okay, your billable is XYZ, but what's being charged to the participants is 3x that amount. Right, and without an advocate, I mean, how would you know, right? If you run a machine shop, or if you run a doctor's office, like,
Once again, we're here to learn or to reinforce ourselves. No, because I've been saying for years, to get in front of we're making it difficult for you. We are your advocate. Okay, we're there to help you. And when you have something in a box where everything's self-serve and you're not sure if you're getting a burger, a Big Mac or a Whopper at the same kiosk, okay, we're here to be your advocate to make sure that you get it. And I think of all the questions we've got here about the 15-minute fintech setups, I think that's the one thing that is being left out, because where's the advocate when you have no advisor,
right?
when you have everything online, when it's supposed to be super simple? Who is there to, not just to advise or consult, but who is there to be your advocate? And I think that's missing.
Right, and it's unfortunately, I mean, a 401k or a retirement plan is not a business product like everything else, right? It's not like an HVAC contractor. It's not like, even cybersecurity or
Right.
whatever. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and there are a ton of regulations around it. You don't know what to ask,
and it keeps getting more complicated every year.
But then also, I think there's a bias in the sales environment where the decision maker who buys is different than the person who implements. And what I'll say about that is, like, on payroll right now, hey, let's do a new payroll firm. And me and the person who would make it happen go, oh my God, it's so much work. And even if you tell me it's going to be easy, I know better. It is not easy, but it's sold to the owner as easy with lots of features. And so that's the sales side, which is different than the implementation or the service side that your staff then has to deal with. And so by breaking up those two sides, easy to make the sale, but
right?
then what actually happens to the plan? But I'll tell you that these firms, that I think that what's amazing for them is they have monthly fees. And so since the monthly fees are like, it's $120 a month and $5 a participant, they are actually making money whether or not you're really set up or you make a first deposit.
Right.
And so there's almost a certain amount of the metrics are that they got you as a client, but that doesn't mean they gave you a plan. So I think there's some murky stuff going on in terms of what it takes to sell versus what it takes to have a plan.
Right.
And when you talk about zombie things, those zombie plans, and as long as you are bringing in things every quarter, then you're great. But that doesn't mean, do we actually have real plans?
So how many zombie plans do you think are out there?
Well, that
I'd say
you're probably not. Okay.
They sometimes say that new plans
right
can be upward of 40% never funded.
No kidding.
So
but since you But since you can't get anybody to sign a 5500, the 5500 never gets signed, so it doesn't show up on eFast with
Right.
zero balances. Okay, but we're hearing. I was surprised at one of the legacies, who I really shouldn't say who it is. I was surprised at one of the legacies who says that on that they will, during the first 12, no, first I think it's 14 months of a plan, they have over a 30% empty rate or zero. I mean, I don't know what you want to call it. Nobody's made a deposit yet. Okay. And we were hearing that from the fintechs, that a lot of these plans are being started so that they don't have, they can honestly not deal with the state mandated plans. We've
Right.
got a plan.
Yeah,
Nobody's making a deferral.
Just says you have a
But if you have to have automatic enrollment, okay, these days, what's the real likelihood that 0%, excuse me, I'm backwards, that 100% of your employees have read the form and actively opted out
But once
of
you
a
get
deferral?
Yeah, we
No,
know the answer to that.
No, it's not going to happen.
But the-
These plans need to have money in it.
But the quarterly reports that are, the tax forms that are quarterly reports only ask, do you have a plan? They don't
Right.
say
Mhm.
how many extra assets were put in and
Right,
everything
yeah.
else. So
They're not
So
tying
it
it
is,
against
when we say
5500s.
zombie, it actually is like it never got to a 5500, it never got funded. And you don't have to disclose as a business how many clients are paying you monthly to have the start of a plan, but not an actual plan put in. So,
Yeah, I'd be really curious about that
Yeah.
with some of the easy startup plans.
Well, how much do you think you've got? I mean, this is anecdotal, and I don't
Yeah.
think we're throwing anybody under the bus here.
Hmm.
So, what percentage of the plans you're involved with get a signed document and get past implementation to the point where they should be doing the first full payroll pull, but don't?
Hmm.
What percentage do you think?
Anecdotally,
Yeah.
in Illinois,
Yeah, you.
over
Yeah.
the past 7 years,
Yeah.
I think that's happened 3 times.
Really? Yeah. So,
I mean, it's not a lot.
right. Well, you also have obviously a very different business model. People are
Right.
going to be expected to get paid and everything else. So it's, yeah, you would expect and the participants are better served because they're actually having an opportunity to make deferrals. How are the participants being better served with a 15-minute setup? I
Right.
don't know how. If they're not actually being given the opportunity to defer because the automatic.
Right, and I think a lot of it
just.
just comes back to that. You know, whether it's a 15-minute setup or a 15-day setup, I think a lot of it comes back to having an advocate in some way, shape, or
I'm
form.
gonna go back. We're gonna
Right.
harp on advocate a lot more here.
Because if and again, I haven't seen the marketing. I don't know what's actually involved, what work is being done in that 15 minutes, and what's being outsourced to a plan administrator. I don't know any of that. But maybe it can be okay for certain plans as long as there is an advocate involved who can help the sponsor, who can help participants understand what they have and how to take advantage of the plan.
well,
Absolutely.
I would say payroll companies do have the advantage of having a lot of the data already,
Hmm.
and perhaps can have people sign things where they can do pulls of the money out of the accounts.
But the payroll companies aren't actually doing the work.
Yeah, well, but I'm not talking,
Right.
I'm really, you get focused on the work versus we got something out there, we're getting paid for it, we've got something going, and that looks like success versus all the fiduciary thoughts and all the taking care of the participants.
Right,
I
and
don't
this
think
is-
that's actually the game.
No, and again, this is all new, right?
That is true.
So we'll see how all of this plays out in the marketplace, like how much interest there actually is, what the take rate is for how many plan sponsors raise their hand and say, yeah, I'll do this in 15. I mean, has this happened a couple of dozen times, or has this happened a couple thousand times?
I business model
I don't
based
know.
on this. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can have a whole business model based on it, but do you have 100 clients or do you have 1,000 clients?
Well, they're kind of mum
I
about
think
that.
I think that it's aimed towards the advisors who are doing one or two, and it's aimed towards the CPAs or the even accountants who go, let's go with this because I see it on QuickBooks and it's easy to set up.
Right.
So I think it's where the onesies and twosies go. But the hard thing is, you don't make your margins on onesies and twosies.
No, you don't.
No.
You know, so it's not really quality business. It's
Right.
Anyway, we can go
Okay.
forever on this.
So-
It'll be interesting to see again, and like in the fintech space, like there will be consolidation among fintechs too.
Yep.
Yes, there will
Right?
be.
Some of
Yes,
those will survive
there will
and
be.
thrive.
Good point.
Right?
All right. So we've been chatting, talking, noshing, drinking for some time here. This has been a treat. Thank you. Hope you guys at least marginally enjoyed it. Okay. One final question for you. It's very broad. Share one piece of advice for advisors, plan sponsors, or retirement plan consultants navigating today's industry.
Dig in and start learning AI tools.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're not doing it, and it can seem overwhelming, right? I'm not talking about like Canva, but
Right.
really dig in and start to learn, how can I use ChatGPT to prospect? How can I use it to research? How can I do it how can I use it to learn about a business in a way that would have been very difficult to do years ago, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think a lot of people getting their start right now are going to naturally turn toward their olders and wisers, right, who built their business in a different time. But one example is like you can't get away, like a classic question 10 years ago would have been, well, tell me about your business, right? You can't get away with that anymore, right? Because you're expected to know about the business, because it's only going to take you 5 minutes, and you can get them to talk. But instead of saying, tell me about your business, it's, so here's what I learned about your business. I thought this was interesting. What did I get wrong? Like, tell me more about that.
Right.
And now you've done your homework, right?
Oh, that's it.
But anyway, learn the AI tools, because they can make your prospecting so much sharper.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jason,
This
the
was
401k guy.
amazing.
This has been absolutely amazing. This is great. I have a lovely reminder of our time in Madrid in 2019. So thank you very much for that. This is the 401 couple. Okay. We're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn. We've got multiple podcasts, we've got the YouTube channel. Please come and find us on social media. And you don't have to do like, subscribe, tell your friends and neighbors about us. All right.
And if they want to contact you directly,
And if they
it's
want to
sales
contact
at
us,
100benefits.com.
it's sales@100benefits.com. Take care.
Toodaloo.
Thanks.